All right, so Kaylee and I are on a bit of a 80s slasher kick with ones that are new to both of us. And this is something I'm very excited about because I started this channel for a couple reasons, and one of them was to talk about slasher movies because I fucking love them.
They're wonderful.
And I've been doing this channel for many years, and I've talked about a lot of slashers, but there's always more. There's always more. They made a lot of them in the 80s, and I have not seen every one of them. I know a lot of people seem to think I've seen every one of them, but I have not.
There's still some that you have.
And this one just so happens to be The Unseen, ironically enough. Because it was unseen.
But now it's seen.
By both of us. Now it is seen. This is currently streaming on Shudder. Sorry, Ricky. You might own it, though. You might own it.
Maybe.
So, yeah. This is from 1980. So this is like right at the beginning of the slasher craze. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's interesting that this even happened because, you know, studios were greenlighting some, but they were mostly not greenlighting slashers until the success of Friday the 13th. That's what really ushered in the slasher craze. And that's why the you know, predominantly they start in like 81 because Friday the 13th came out in 80. Now there's some, of course, that were like trying to ape off of Halloween from 78, and that's why you got a few more like, you know, like Don't Go in the House or The Burning, or I think The Burning actually is 81, but you know, Tourist Trap and those that came out in like 79 and 80. So it's cool to see movies from this time, like 1980, because it's not following any formula yet, right? A lot of the like 81, 82 slashers, they all do kind of feel like Friday the 13th.
Formulaic. Yeah.
Yes. And this one doesn't. This one is definitely a different slasher, so to speak. Now, I could see people arguing that this isn't a slasher, mostly because the killer doesn't use like stabbing implements,
right?
Which I don't think is a fair assessment of the genre or the subgenre. I've even said that The Terminator is a slasher movie because it's about the style, it's about the setup of like the stalking.
Yes.
Right? The stalking is a big part of slasher films. And this film definitely has a slasher feel to it.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And I don't think that the weapon that's used should be what defines a slasher.
I will also say this. This might be a bold statement, I'm not sure. But I am pretty much positive that this is the inspiration for People Under the Stairs.
I know.
I'm pretty sure Wes Craven watched this and this is where he got the idea.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to find out that that was an inspiration.
There's too many elements here that are the same, right? You've got the brother and sister.
That's huge, yeah.
Who are living in this house.
Yeah.
Right? And you have the creature under the stairs who lives in the vents.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
that is the framework
for people under the stairs. Absolutely.
So I have to believe that this is the inspiration. Maybe it isn't. It's possible, but
it is possible.
Those three elements alone.
Yeah, it's very similar, if anything, you know, at all.
He uses the vents to get around the house. They're brother and sister, and he lives down in the basement where they keep him. Right. Like, there's no way. It's too similar.
It would be a very big coincidence.
Sure.
For it to be, but it's possible that they are just kind of on the same, you know, wavelength.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, this movie, let's jump into it. So we didn't take any notes on this one. We just threw it on, and let's just chat about the fun things in it. Now, we're following this up after having watched Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, which is a wildly different film. This actually kind of reminds me a bit, tonally, of something like Tourist Trap. This is a very serious horror movie. There's no cheese in this movie at all, not intentionally anyways. Like, this film is not self-aware. This movie is taking itself very seriously. And I was a big fan. I really enjoyed this one. This is this is a very unique 80s slasher. The only gripe, and it's not a major gripe, it's my only real gripe of the film though, is that the antagonists are fleshed out more than the protagonists.
Yeah.
Which is really rare. Right? Like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or whatever. Like, they're purposely shaded in secrecy and mystery. Right? Like, we're not supposed to know much about them. That's like what makes them scary.
Yeah.
And until you get into later, like, Nightmare on Elm Street movies or Halloween movies or Jason movies, do they start to try to explain them.
Sure.
Right? They're more the mystery killers.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them scary. But in this, we spend a good amount of time. And this I would probably liken more to something along the lines of... because... okay, if you take a film like Don't Go in the House, for instance, and you take the character Donnie, who's our main villain, right? But he's the central focus of the film, right? So like like Maniac or something with Joe Spinell, or even the Elijah Wood one, where your antagonist is your main focus, where your antagonist is your main character, right? So like in those movies, when you're getting to know Donnie in Don't Go in the House, it makes sense because he's the main character, and everyone who kind of falls into his spider web and didn't read the title of the movie, Don't Go in the House. It makes sense that we're really exploring him as a character. But this movie, it isn't. Like, our protagonists are the main characters.
They are,
sort of. But we get the most out of our antagonists.
Yes.
Which is super
so much
weird.
More about them than we do the main girls that are in the film.
We don't know shit about two of the three girls.
Two of them are seriously just bodies that are on screen to be killed. And then the main girl, we find out very little about what's going on, although there's like a setup for like problems that she's having with her boyfriend, and even her boyfriend has like a little bit of backstory with everything, but it's not a lot. But yeah, we spend a lot more time with the killers and the antagonists, I guess, and it's interesting. It definitely is an interesting like turn of like change.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the main girl has a boyfriend who has an injury, and he's a football player, and he wants to come back, and because of this, he's pissed off, and then we find out that she had an abortion that she didn't tell him about.
Yeah.
So not only is he struggling with the fact that he feels like he's this has-been who can't play the thing he loves anymore, but then the woman he loves, went behind his back and killed their baby because, she doesn't think they're in the place anymore to have a kid because he doesn't have his shit together anymore.
Right.
So there is something going on there. It's not like there's nothing.
Right.
And that knee injury that he has in the movie, because the whole opening credits is just him grunting, and I thought it was someone having sex or getting killed. Like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
It actually reminded me of that Adam Sandler skit that he had a record that he released many, many years ago. The one with Piece of Shit Car on it, that probably is most famous because he used to release CDs that were like joke CDs, and one of them was a segment on there was having sex or working out, and he was like walking around the mall and he was asking people like, is this audio of people having sex or lifting weights?
Yeah.
It's a really funny segment because like it's clearly people fucking, and then they're like, well, that's people having sex, and he's like, no, they're doing like squats.
Yeah.
And it's like, the last one is like somebody fucking, well, not the last one, but one of the ones is like two gay guys like having sex.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah. And then he actually like records himself having sex with one of the contestants, and then plays it back to her, and she's like, "That's a video or an audio of you having sex with me right now." And he's like, "No, I'm sorry. That's." It was a really funny scene. Anyways,
that's what it reminded you of.
That's what it reminded me of, because I could not figure out.
Sure, it's pretty like it could be either.
Yeah.
It definitely could be either. It was weird.
But it's him working out his knee.
Yeah.
Way too hard.
He's doing it so hard because he's so like
determined.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that does come up in the film, right? It's not only like what drives them apart, but also he runs to go get her to save her in the end, and he can't because his knee gives out on him.
Yeah, that is awful. That would be such a horrible feeling.
Dude, I would have hopped.
I mean, sure, like, yeah, but the pain.
I don't give a shit.
Oh my god.
If someone was killing you.
No, of course. I'm glad you would do that.
I would immediately, I wouldn't care what happened to my knee. I would immediately get up and fucking hop over them. I'd be like freaking Dr. Gordon.
Hopping.
In Saw.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Zeb, you bastard!" And he's like crawling around the room without a leg.
Yeah.
That'd be me.
Aw, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Nothing would stop you.
Fuck no. Well, I mean, like my head getting blown off or something would probably stop me.
But no other bodily injury.
No.
Within reason.
No. As long as I was conscious and could move.
You'd be moving.
Yes. Yeah.
That's sweet.
But yeah, we get great nudity in the movie, so that's a big plus.
There's a lot of nudity.
There's not a lot. There's just one girl.
Oh, that's I mean, it's a lot because it's
fully nude.
Yeah, because she gets fully naked, so there's
vagina,
a lot of nudity.
butt, tits, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, A+ on that. And then the other character that we don't really get to know, she's kind of supposed to be the comedic relief. Mm-hmm. She's fine. I like her, but I just wish she would have got more time.
Yeah.
Right? And more to do there. I thought the kill scenes were actually pretty like eerie.
I did too. I really like the kill where the comedic relief character is getting like her like scarf is being pulled down through these vents in the floor, and then her head gets smashed against it, and it's rough because it smashes against it once, and she's like all woozy from it, and like I'm feeling woozy here, and and then I liked it. I thought it was good. It was pretty brutal considering. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now this whole like they come to Solvang, California to cover something because they're like a news crew. All this stuff is completely nothing.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Like they do
it's just
nothing
to get them
with that.
to that area, and then the fact that there's a festival or whatever going on, and all of the hotels are completely booked, which is then what drives them to the killer's house.
One of the main reasons I actually pressed play on this movie was because the movie is set in Solvang, California, which I went to a lot as a kid. I've been to Solvang a ton, and I've never seen a movie set there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, Solvang? Oh, whoa, that's a blast from the past. I haven't been there since I was a kid. Oh, I want to check this one out. Yeah. And I'm very glad I did, because I think this is a really cool slasher film of this era. I think it's unique. I think that the main antagonist, the dad, the one that invites the girls, is a creep, and that he gives a great performance. I really love his like psychotic banter that he's having with his dead dad.
Yes, that scene was super cool.
This is very Norman Bates.
Very.
And I thought he was excellent. He's an actor I've seen in actually a bunch of stuff. I mean, most notably, he's from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But I've seen him in quite a bit, and he's always off. But he's usually like a sweet off. Yeah. And this is not. Like the guy he plays in the beginning of the movie is how he plays in every movie. I was going to say,
like, he kind of does have that sweetness, but it's definitely made creepy. Like, he starts off where you think he's just being, like, like he's just an awkward guy that's like trying to get these like beautiful girls like to help them out or whatever. But then the way that he gets psychotic, like it is really disturbing. And I definitely feel like this movie is like Psycho but reverse. Like instead of a mom, it's dead dad.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool. It's really
cool. But it's like also if Norman Bates had a sister,
right,
forced her into incest,
yes,
and then kept their mongoloid child in the basement.
It's not like a pure Psycho remake with that, but yeah, adding all those other elements.
But he's very Psycho-esque for sure.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And these girls are the Marion Cranes of the movie. And he invites them back to his house because he owns something now that once was a hotel that is no longer a hotel. And he brings them there because he's a horny old man.
Yeah.
And his sister probably isn't giving it up to him the way he wants her to. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Not only are they related, but he's disgusting.
Yes.
You couldn't even be a hot brother. Jesus. But yeah, he brings it back there, and this is why we get the nudity scene, is because he's peeping on this girl in the bathroom. And even though I don't condone that action, I definitely condone it in this film.
No, it's so gross.
Like, it's gross, but I wouldn't have got to see the nudity if it didn't happen.
That's fine, but like what he's doing is still
it's horrible.
Yeah,
of course,
it's super gross.
Of course,
and he's just so creepy.
You know who he reminds me of, and I think of this every single time I see him. He has a very similar look. He has the gap in his teeth, and he's just, I don't know, he's got that same look, and you might not even know who I'm talking about, but Ernest Borgnine, which I've brought up his name a few times.
You have brought up his name a few times.
He reminds me very much of Ernest Borgnine in Escape from New York.
Oh.
Cabby.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay, I could see.
He's very sweet.
Yeah.
And he's older. He's got the gap in his teeth. They talk very similarly. Yeah. They look kind of similarly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, not Ernest Borgnine from like Poseidon Adventure, because he's wildly different in that movie. He's a fucking like cop and he's like tough guy. Mm-hmm. But like in Escape from New York, he acts a lot like this guy before this guy goes crazy. Of course, Cabby stays like sweet the whole movie until his death, unfortunately. But yeah, I thought all this stuff with Dad was great. I thought that even though like the sister doesn't have a lot of dialogue, I thought she played kind of like the PTSD ridden woman who has had her life stolen from her and is a prisoner of her own, of her own brother and life. And of course they had like an abusive father too. I thought she played that super well.
Me too.
And then I thought that like whatever prosthetics or whatever the hell and whatever, like I thought, and this is something I don't think enough people will praise, but like the actor who plays Junior,
oh my gosh,
does such a fantastic job of like embodying a large child.
Yes.
Who
he's nonverbal.
Yeah.
And infantile,
yeah.
And it is so scary.
He's scary.
The way he looks too is just like I don't know if that's his face.
No.
I mean, like there's like you said, there's like some prosthetics or something that they're using, but it really like it makes him look like a giant baby.
Yeah.
And it's super scary.
Giant inbred baby.
It's super scary, especially because it's like it's not his fault.
No,
like at all.
No.
Like he's definitely kind of like I feel this way a little bit about like Leatherface,
sympathetic.
Right? Where yeah, he's sort of sympathetic. I mean, he's more sympathetic than Leatherface is maybe, but it's the same type of vibe where it's like the family is putting him in a position. And in this case, like he's obviously like got issues and is just kept in the basement. And so like the way that he interacts with her, it's like a baby, it's like a kid interacting, and like it's sad because she's terrified, obviously.
Well, this is reminiscent of Barbarian, too, right?
And very similar to Barbarian in that way, too.
And I like that they put, like, tighty whities on him that are kind of, like, loose because it makes it look like a diaper. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really smart. But I do want to say that, like, people might, like, overlook that or, like, not think anything of it. But his performance in this is really solid.
Yeah.
Like, the way he's able to, he genuinely acts like a baby who is having a temper tantrum and not getting his way, but is also like able to convey like intimidation and fear. And so he's able to kind of do both. He's able to be scary, because it's a hard balance to strike. It's this like, you got to act like a baby, but you got to remain a formidable foe that people are like scared of, because you're the reveal of the movie. Mm-hmm. You're the thing we're keeping in secret the whole time, and when people see you, they need to be afraid of you. Yes. But you also need to act like a baby, which the least thing you're ever afraid of is a baby, right? A baby is like the embodiment of everything you're not afraid of.
Right, but then you take a big baby, a baby in a man's body, who doesn't know his own strength or anything.
Yep.
And then it becomes horrifying.
Yeah. This is another one, like Phantom of the Mall. I would totally buy this. I would totally watch this again. I liked it more than Kaylee, I know, but
I didn't dislike
really
it.
Liked it a lot.
Like I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I just this was unfortunately a movie I was getting sleepy towards the end, but I didn't dislike it at all. I would say that it's really good. You know,
Junior woke you up.
Junior did wake me up. Junior was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
So I'm happy we found it. I would love to watch it again. You know, like I'd be super down to do that.
I also love that the sister is who kills the dad.
Yes, I love that
or
too.
Or brother or whatever, because if anyone there deserves to kill him.
Oh my God, 100% it's her.
Well, maybe
it's either
Junior.
Her
Junior had no life.
Yeah, Junior literally was a prisoner.
Yeah, a prisoner of the mind, a prisoner of the body.
Yes.
Yeah, he literally never even got a chance.
No.
He was inbred, so he's clearly like mentally incompetent. And even if he got an upbringing, he's still challenged.
Yeah.
But this, he didn't even get that.
Yeah.
Like, he's just locked in the basement, and it's terrible. It's terrible. Like, this dude that runs the house is a straight up villain. He is. The villain, the only villain, really.
Yes.
The other ones are just victims.
Exactly. They're victims who unfortunately became villainous in a way.
Yeah.
From their victimhood. But
when I said he's straight up a villain, I mean, obviously he's a villain. I meant like he's like the only villain.
A villain, like responsible and accountable.
Sure, there's no sympathizing with him.
No, none
There's
at all.
no like, or he's kind of cool, or no.
No.
This guy's awful.
Horrible.
But a phenomenal performance.
Yes.
I think one of the better horror villain performances I've seen in a slasher movie.
Yeah,
that's why I think
I would agree, especially
I'm
because
super high on this.
I can totally see that. We actually get his reactions and acting from him, of course, in a slasher movie. That's rare to begin with.
Yeah, and all the acting in this is good.
So yeah,
like but him, he's
definitely the best,
the centerpiece of the film, and he's because he's the biggest actor, and he's been in, at this point he was already in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So. They really relied on him, I'm sure, and he delivered. I mean, he plays a psycho too well.
Too well.
So great on him. Really cool, overlooked gem for me. And I got this from a list of like 50 underrated slashers or whatever. So I'm gonna continue with that list on anything else I've seen, because I think Phantom of the Mall is also on there.
Oh, wonderful. And it's
like, man, we're 2 for 2.
So far, yeah.
We're 2 for 2. That's not where I got Phantom of the Mall. I think it's also on that list. But I'm gonna look through it, and we're gonna continue on. So look forward to more slashers. I mean, this is basically Slasher Sunday. It's just Slasher Sundays every day now.
Yay!
So we finished up Wes Craven.
Yep. And
now we're on an 80s slasher kick.
Yay!
But all new to me.
Which is so exciting.
Yeah, it is. And 2 for 2.
Yeah.
2 for 2. This is great. I probably liked Phantom of the Mall more only because it's more entertaining. Yeah. But this is better. This is a better movie
for sure. This is a better horror movie.
Yeah, this is a better movie. Sure. The acting in this and
but the Phantom of the Mall
and all that is way better.
Is very charming, very like quintessential 80s slasher, which who doesn't love?
They're both great representations of the different like styles of slashers in the 80s that work.
Yeah.
You've either got the ridiculous, super silly, self-aware, absurd slashers, or you've got like the hyper serious slashers, like a Maniac,
right,
like a Prowler,
ones. Yeah,
like like those movies that very much take themselves very seriously. Don't go in the house, which I love. I love super serious.
Me
tourist
too.
trap.
Oh my god, yeah.
Stuff like that where it's like super serious. They're really trying to be scary.
Yeah, and then
then you got like Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Right.
And you've got, freaking, like we just said, Phantom of the Mall. And like those, you got the two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And I love both.
I do too.
If they embrace one side or the other.
Yes, me too.
So, that's that.
Yeah.
Moving on. We'll see what's next. I don't know yet. But I'm excited.
Me too.
All right.